Hi all, good morning, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are watching this video. Welcome to Wildwood Farm. And this is video number 2 of our series of getting started on an off-grid lifestyle. The first video was about asking yourself the hard question, can you really do it, since it's such a big responsibility? The next question, once you've looked that one over and discussed it and had all the heart-to-hearts, the next question is the realities of it. So if you're interested in this video and all the rest that I'm going to have on getting started in an off-grid lifestyle, please like and subscribe to my video or follow me on Rumble. Okay, the question is the realities. It's time to get a pencil and paper out. And this is where you get to have fun. Dream big, real big. Pretend like money's not even an issue. You won the lotto, like my husband likes to say, when I win the lotto. So, what would you love? Absolutely, if money was never an issue, what would be the way you would want your homestead off-grid to look like? Write it down. Okay, most of it's probably going to become impossible to get unless you win the lotto, because, I mean, heck, I would like several hundred acres, fence it in with a concrete wall, barbed wire, never leave the place ever again. Just have everything I need on the property. But that is just an unachievable goal. Maybe. So, to be realistic, first dream big, then get realistic. What kind of homestead do you want? Besides the fact that it's going to be off-grid, do you want it completely off-grid so that you supply everything at your own property, your own water, the majority of your food, your own power, your own heat sources, your own way to cook, your own shelter, everything. Yes, you could start with a blank piece of land and go from there. Or do you want to just be sort of off-grid? Just have a rain catchment system that doesn't supply all your water, but does give you some extra water or have some in case the power or water goes out? Do you want to have a completely off-grid home where you supply all your utilities, or do you just want to have a backup for in case of a power outage? That's where you need to think. Start thinking about all those things. The next question you need to think about is, where do you want this homestead to be? Are you going to be stuck where you're at and trying to fix the home that you're already in? Or are you able to just move wherever and start from scratch? Do you want 4 seasons? Do you hate the summer? Do you hate winter? Do you hate a lot of rain, or do you want a lot of rain? Do you want open land, or do you want wooded land? Do you want mountainous? Do you want desert? Those kind of things need to be considered, because all of those will affect how you live your homestead lifestyle. If you live in a desert area, you're not going to have a lot of water. So what are you going to do about supplying that water? If you live in a wooded area on top of a mountaintop, you're not going to have that much solar power because the trees are going to be in the way. So what are you going to do about electricity? All those things would need to be considered. There's so many tiny, tiny little factors that would need to be thought about. So think about it. What do you want? Me personally, I would prefer cooler summers because I hate summers. Longer winters don't matter to me. But if you have a long winter, will you have the ability to keep warm during that winter? Will you have the ability to have fresh water during that winter? Will you have the ability to keep your livestock healthy and warm and fed and watered during a long winter? So, I mean, a lot of people think, let's just move to Alaska. Alaska gets pretty cold in the winter, and winter lasts a long time. So you would have to consider having enough stocked up for the time where you can't really do anything. Next, is your homestead going to be animal-based, vegetable-based, or a mixture of both? All those factors need to be considered. To have gardens, you need one thing. To have animals, you need something else. And most of the time, the two don't mix. Because the land that's good to have grass may not be good to grow crops. Or an old farm that has had a monocrop, like, say, corn grown on it, may go for cheap, but the soil will be depleted and you're not going to be able to grow very much on it organically. You're going to need a lot of inputs. And it will not turn into a very good pasture for a long time. So those are other questions that you need to think about. The other thing is, Do you have children? Do you need schools? Are you going to need friends for your kids? Or are you going to homeschool your children and raise them on your farms and just take them to town every now and then to play with other people? That's also another big consideration. And then another big factor is income. We all need some sort of income. No matter where we live or how much we want to be off grid, that one factor is never going to go away. We're always going to need some source of income. So that's going to be another factor. Do you work remotely from home already, and can your job move? Many of us have transferred to that kind of lifestyle since the vid came around a couple of years ago, and our jobs were closed and we worked from home. So that is a portable job. You can do that anywhere. Except the question, will you have internet? If you're up top of a mountain somewhere in the back of beyond, will there be internet service out there? Will you be able to afford the internet service that you would need to get to be doing it on top of a mountain somewhere in the boonies? See, tiny little factors that all are going to be your responsibility when you decide to go off grid. Living in a city, everything is right there. Living on top of a mountain, it's a totally different lifestyle. And then here's another thought. So you're going to move off grid. Can your vehicle handle it? A lot of times off-grid roads are not maintained by anybody but you. Yes, again, your problem. They are rough roads that would need a four-wheel drive vehicle. Good funny joke. We started ours off in a Mazda. Yep, low to the ground, tore that sucker up. Those roads were bad. Bad. And tires, oh my goodness, let me not even get started on tires. Can't grow tires on a farm. Can't make tires on a farm. So yes, always need an income. So will your vehicle handle it? Can you afford to buy a vehicle that will be able to handle it? Will your property be accessible all year round? You live up on top of a mountain? Is it going to be up and down switchbacks and then get iced over in the middle of winter and then you can't leave? Then you'll have to plan for that too. See, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts into going off grid that need to be considered. But this is the fun part. Dream. Go ahead. Toss it all out there on a piece of paper. Nothing is wrong. There's never a wrong answer. Ask all the questions. Try to decide, but work it out with everybody. Not one person can make all the decisions. You're not, unless you're doing it all by yourself, which will be extremely hard, but can be done. Talk to everybody. See what they're willing to put into the mix. For us, I'm the animal person. My husband, he does the electricity and the math and the machinery. He has learned in the last 30 plus years how to do animals. But the animals wouldn't do very hot if it was just him doing them. But then on the flip side, if he's not around and the electricity breaks, guess who's lighting the kerosene candles until he gets back? Me. So you got to find out what your misses are, the things that you're weak in, and the things that other people are good in to make this work. Now, it is possible that you could just say, to heck with it all. I'm not going to have any electricity whatsoever. I'm going to go totally Amish. No power, candles, and wood. Yeah, you could do that. We did that for a while. It was fun. In all ways that word means. It was fun, for real fun. And then it was fun as in hard-ass work. But it can be done, and then you can grow out of it. You do not have to start your homestead with everything already, unless you've won the lotto, and then you can. Start your homestead small. Again, there's another question. How big do you want to be? Do you want to buy all the acreage you want right now and then slowly build it into what you want? Or do you want to buy small acreage and then start? Or do you want to just have small acreage, period, and work it up to what you want? What do you want on that farm? What kind of livestock do you want on that farm? What kind of crops do you want on that farm? All of those issues are things that you need to think about. And this is when a piece of paper comes in handy and a pen. Sit down there and each of you make a list of what you want on your farm or your homestead to be. Start from extremely grandiose down to the tiniest little thing. Do you want a bucket to fit in your well? I know that sounds silly, right? A lot of us put in wells, but they don't have wells like they did in Laura Ingalls' day, where you toss a bucket down in it. Now wells are mostly a pipe, a 2-inch pipe. Can't put a very big bucket down that thing. Now can you? Is your well going to be too deep to even think about bucketing water out or using a hand pump? Anything over 25 feet is too deep for a hand pump. And the bucket gets pretty heavy when you're pulling up 25 feet of rope too. So tiny little things like that, all of those need to be looked into. So what you need to do is look at a picture of an off-grid homestead and think about all the little moving parts that are there. And think about if you can supply those things, if you're willing to have to supply those things, or if there's somebody that can maintain the systems once they're set up. Buying a complete system, a solar system, say, and putting it up is great until it stops working. Can you fix it? Will you be able to figure out how to fix it? Or do you want to start small and have an on-grid house and just have a small solar system and then build onto it as you learn how to handle maintaining a solar system? All of those things will need to be thought about. It's tiny stuff like that that can totally wreck your dream. Something so small that nobody would think would totally wreck a dream, but could. You get it all set up and then you don't know how to fix your solar array, and then all of a sudden you don't have power one day when you need it, and it's 15 degrees outside. Think about that. How would you handle that kind of situation? So you need to think about the extremes. Go way off the deep end. Think about the worst things ever and plan for those. The way you do it is hope for the best, plan for the worst. And then if the worst never happens, then you're going to be good to go. So, in this video, we talked about the realities of setting up your homestead. Make a plan. Ask the questions. Write it all down. Hash it out. Look it over. Put it away for about 3 weeks and then pull it out again and look at it again. I can guarantee you other things are going to pop into your head that you didn't think of back then. Read some books about people who've lived off-grid. Find some old books. Laura Ingalls was my inspiration when I was a child. Yes, when I was less than 9 years old, I was like, I want to live like that. Look at Laura Ingalls' lifestyle and see if you could do that. See if you could figure out what it would take to do that. They didn't have refrigerators back then. So where will you put your food? Okay? So while you're in these planning stages, make lists of things that you'll need to learn. Not all of us know how to can. I didn't know how to can 5 years ago. Not all of us know how to cook on a wood stove. I didn't know how to cook on a wood stove either 5 years ago. Not everybody knows how to work with animals. I've pretty much known that all my life. But not everybody does. We don't deal with animals every day. There's so many things that are outside our realm of normal life nowadays that need to be learned that used to be 150 years ago normal skills. So while you're in the planning stages, learn things. Find a skill, say canning, and learn how to can. Practice it. You can buy stuff from the store in a big bulk can it down. That'll be a video later on down the way. When it cools off, I will make a video on how to can and how to start canning and the basics of that. But skills like that all can be learned in your house, in the middle of a city somewhere, while you're doing the planning. So that way you feel like you're making steps towards your off-grid lifestyle. And again, make a list of what monies you're going to need or things that you're going to need. If you're going to go have a garden, you're going to need tools. Start buying them. Hit up a garage sale. Look for them on the Shopper. Facebook Marketplace. Oh, that's rocking. I've got so much off of Facebook Marketplace. You can find stuff. Start slowly but surely gathering the things that you would need for your off-grid lifestyle, so that the day you decide to make the jump, you're not going to have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to make the jump. You already have the stuff. And it also gives yourself a sense of accomplishment when you look at that list of things that you need, which I will supply a link to that on my Rumble page and my YouTube page down in the comments. Find a list and then start checking it off. It doesn't have to be perfectly brand new things. If you could afford it, fine. Secondhand works just as well. Matter of fact, the older things are better than the newer stuff. So that way it'll make you feel good about yourself. You'll be making small steps towards your bigger goal of living an off-grid lifestyle. And you're not sticking your neck out and putting yourself or your family members in danger because you don't know exactly what you're doing yet. Trust me, it's always going to be a learning process. You will never have all the answers to everything, but you'll have a lot of them while you're doing this. So have fun with your plan. Dream, draw pictures, look up stuff on Facebook or Google, find pictures, make a scrapbook of all the things. Laugh. I can guarantee you, 5 years after you get off grid, you're going to pull that scrapbook out and you're going to laugh at yourself about how silly you were and how dumb you were. But it'll be amusing and it'll be a sense of pride. So there you go. Video number 2 on the realities of living off grid and the planning process. The next video that I'm planning on doing is looking into the finer points of this planning process. Different places to live, what places are good, and what places would be bad. Of course, big cities. What parameters you should set to be looking for a homestead. You know, what would be good areas to look for homesteads. What are the requirements? Things like that. So if you like this video and you want to learn more, like and share and follow me down below. And God bless you all and happy homesteading.